When the game Cyberpunk 2077 was first announced, it got really hyped up. A lot of people were excited for the game. And when the game came out, everybody was saying it was a buggy mess, that it wasn't as good, that there was a lot of stuff that we were promised that just wasn't there. And it didn't feel like the game we were promised. And that is true to an extent. But was the game really ever that bad? My name is Rebel Phonics, and welcome to my little video essay on if Cyberpunk 2077 was really ever that bad in general. The first thing we have to think about when we think about if a game was that bad compared to how it was supposed to be is how hyped up the game was. The game was incredibly hyped up. I myself remember watching the trailers every few weeks just to get myself back into that hype. And before the game came out, I was so hyped. I took a picture almost every day for the last 100 days of the countdown when I was going to play it on my PlayStation. I could not wait for this game to come out. When the game did finally come out, I was very disappointed. Now, while that was some fault in the developers, it was also partially my fault, as I was getting myself hyped up for the best game in existence, when I should have just been getting myself hyped up for just another good game. With the Edge Runners anime coming out, most people that are watching it, just a lot of people in general, are starting to play the game. They're starting to give it a second chance, or some people that heard that the game was horrible in the first place are finally giving it a first chance. And a lot of people are really liking it. And do you want to know why I think that is? Because it wasn't as hyped up. When we were really hyped for the game and we didn't get exactly what we were promised or what we were hoping for, it seemed horrible. But when everybody thought that the game was just gonna be dog shit, and then they go to play it for the first time and it's actually not as bad as they thought, it gets a lot more credibility, and a lot of people start to like it more than they thought they would. Now, granted, there have been a lot of updates that have come out since the game first launched. You can now get apartments, customize what your character looks like even after you've done the initial character creation, customize what your clothes look like, all sorts of new things. I would even go as far to say that now that I've been playing it a lot more after watching the Edge Runner series, it is one of my favorite games of all time. I've been having so much fun with it. I've done multiple playthroughs already. And let's not forget that mantis blades are just the fucking coolest thing ever. Now, when I say things that we were promised that we didn't get, a lot of people start to freak out and say, oh, the game was great, it was buggy, but that was it. Why was it ever hated on in the first place? But the trailers did a great job of telling us things that we were going to get that never actually happened. We end up seeing consequences of our actions later on in the open world, but that never actually really happens. Sure, maybe we get a few that change some of the quest lines or some of the other stuff. Like if we had saved Brick in one of the first missions, then when in one of the last missions, Brick helps us out, which that's cool. We see the consequence of our actions. But we also see in the trailer that one of the first missions, actually the first mission, has a consequence later on, and that we just randomly start getting followed by somebody. But then that ended up not being a thing that would just happen in open world. That ended up just being a second part of the first quest. There wasn't a lot of randomness or just random encounters as we were expecting. Now, when I say random encounters, I mean something like how Skyrim does it, or Fallout, just Bethesda games in general, where we'll just be walking in a random part of the world and we'll see something like an orc that wants to die, or just a random person that wants to sell you something and maybe wants to rob you, something like that. But we don't see random encounters like we were expecting in this game. And when I say that, people start freaking out because they're like, oh, what about that guy who had the fiery dick or whatever it was? His implant on his crotch, Burning Crotch Man, that's what his name was. What about him? Wasn't that just a random encounter? No, it wasn't a random encounter. If you play the game right now, there's a quest marker to go and meet that guy for the first time and do that quest. I was thinking more random encounter like maybe somebody had put a bounty out on your head, or something like that. Just random stuff that can happen. Now, I've been hating on the game for a good 3 minutes, and that's not the entire reason I want to make this video, because it's really about if the game was ever that bad. Now, we were promised a lot of stuff, and we never got, and so we thought it was horrible. But if we take the game as it is now, and let's say none of us ever got hyped up for the game, it is an incredible game. Each different person can have a different playthrough of the game, a different V that they've made, following a different quest line and a different ending. Everybody's going to have different skills and different cybernetics. And let's not forget that you can customize your dick in this game. So if we take it as it is, it really isn't that bad of a game. So I really would recommend that you give it another try, and don't think of it as the best game ever. Just think of it as another good game that's just fun to play. Thank you for watching till the end of this video. My name is Rebelphonics. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching my video essay of my crazy, chaotic opinion and different opinions about the game, as it gets a lot more hate than I think it deserves, but it's also loved by stans that just go crazy over the game and hate you if you have any concerns about the game. So, that'll be all. Have a good one.